Hello everyone, it's Amy and I am here for my Build Your Stash and Craft supplemental video number 10. And this is my ugly jelly plate video. I did forget all about it. I apologize. And we had 1 through 4 on the pages to vote on. Page 1 got 4 votes, 2 got 5 votes, 3 got 4 votes, and page 4 got 6 votes. So this is page 4, and I've already done a little bit of cutting on it. This is what I have left, and it actually looks a little prettier now that it's even cut up than what it did. So what I've done is I've taken a piece of our cardstock and cut it in half, the 8.5 length way, and then I folded that in half so that I could make a little card. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put stick glue on it and just put this on. I cut my jelly print, let's see here, see what the measurements are. Some of you know them by heart. I have to figure them out every time. Okay, when we cut it in half and folded it in half, it wound up being 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So I cut this one at 3 3/4 and 5. So that gave me a 1/2 inch extra all the way around so that I'll have a little border. Let me put this here. So I'll have a 1/4 inch border all the way around. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm not really big on measuring, but if you are, by all means, make sure that you measure. I have gotten to the point where I'm so used to just, if it's a little bit off, I can do that. It just shows that it's homemade. This is just a thing that I got from AARP. It's kind of a plastic coated card, and I'm just using that to make it adhere better and make sure that it's all nice and flat. So there we go. Now what I've done is, when I made this jelly plate, I had stamped off some flowers there, and so I took some of those from another piece of it and I cut some out, and I am going to just curl them a little bit. Do I want to go around the edges? Maybe I should. And this is what they look like before I cut them out. And I think I will take some, what color? Yellow maybe. Let's see what it looks like if I go around the edges in yellow. I'm not even sure that it's gonna make a difference. We'll kind of find out here. So there are the two, and the yellow doesn't make enough contrast for me, so I guess I'm gonna do blue. Because there's blue flowers, there's bluebells. And, well, I don't know what else is blue. Now this one, because I've already got the yellow on it, may wind up being a bit of a different color than all the rest of them are going to be, because it's gone over top of that yellow. There we go. That looks better with that little bit around the edges. And then I'm going to use my sparkly nail polish to put a dot in the center after I have them on my card. And I'm going to use some of the caulk to pick it up a little bit. And what I'm going to do, because there's 5 of these and that's going to take me a few minutes, I think I'm going to stop right here and I'll be right back. I'm just going to finish these. Okay, so I've got all my flowers cut out and edged, and when I got my sparkle glitter nail polish for the center, I saw my clear and I thought, you know, I just want to put a little clear coat on there. So I wound up putting 2 coats of clear, and so while those are drying, I also want to edge my card, and I've decided I was going to do it in the blue that I have there, but I've decided that would just be too much blue, so I'm going to do it in this green. Oh, that's way too much. just because there is some of this green in there. The yellow and the blue kind of made this color. And so I think that I'm going to just go ahead and edge it with this green. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't even see. There we go. And you want to make sure when you're edging with paint, use your sponge and just make sure that you've got it pretty dry. I'm going to open this up because I don't want it on the back. But yeah, you definitely just want to have your makeup sponge on the drier side with the paint. You don't want to have a whole bunch of wet paint on there because it will glop on there. You know, you'll get way more than what you want. But you can edge with any of the colors that you have. Just use one of your makeup sponges. And you actually could, sometimes, you know, I might kind of hold it a little more like this and make a wider border. And then put a darker color around the edge. I don't have one that I want to do with this. I'm going to set this aside and I'll put it on something in just a minute. So there we have for that. Now, because I've sparkled up these, I'm trying to decide, do I want to, the cover of this is very matte. And I could make it shiny by just taking some of my glue, putting it on here, just barely any water. Not really your water glue. That's not quite as shiny. But almost straight glue with just a little, maybe a little bit of a wet brush and a little bit of glue. And then just brush it on there. And that would help shine up the front. But I think I'm going to leave the matte because I think that's going to make the shiny flowers pop out a little bit more. And so I'm going to leave this matte, but you could, if you wanted to make it shiny, paint some glue on there. Okay, so now we've got this like this. And our flowers are not quite dry. So let's see here. I also have some parts and pieces here that I've cut out. Let's set these aside for a minute. And these are to make some flowers out of what I had on that. I've got some stems, some leaves, and some grass. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on a Rolodex card, which this is what we'll be doing next week. But what I want to do first with my Rolodex is I want it to kind of have like a blue sky background. And so I am just going to put my blue on here. And I need to grab my water. Always have to forget something. Give it a couple of sprays. And then I forgot my other plastic. Definitely not too prepared for this. So I'm going to press those together and pick it up. Just because I don't want, if you don't press something on it, you wind up kind of getting your color lines on your paper. And I definitely didn't want that. Go. I just kind of want to look because I want to make sure that the whole top doesn't have to be completely blue, but I do want to have just, I don't know how to say it. I'll know it when I see it, as far as what I'm looking for. Put some on the bottom, even though I don't necessarily have to have it there. And there we go. I think that that looks good. Oh, I want to get this side. I forgot. I'm doing this. I'm actually looking at this not in the correct direction. This is my top. This is my bottom. I just want to make sure that I get my top sky-like. And there we go. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I am going to take my cutout pieces And this is my grass. Now I just took a piece of that and I just cut in and in, you know, just give it a little bit of a curve and pull out the little extra pieces. And like right here, I broke one off. It doesn't matter, it's grass, it's not all even anyways. Now the way I cut the grass in different heights is before I cut all of my little ups and downs. If you cut on a straight line and then you cut all your grass pieces, it's going to be completely straight. So if you have a perfectly manicured lawn, that's how you would do it. But to have it look more rustic, more country-ish, what I did was I cut this at different heights. I just kind of cut a little bit of a swoop in there, and that gave me different heights grass. If you try and do that after you cut the grass, then your grass isn't going to have points on top. So you do have to do that beforehand. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my grass and put it right at the edge. And I want to see if I have enough to do this twice. Not quite. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my back just a little bit shorter than my front. Right about like that. And I'm just going to glue that right on there. Excuse me. Usually I have a piece of paper that I do my stick glue on because it gets, you have to be careful if you're doing it on your work surface to make sure that you don't put your page where you just put glue. I'm just going to line that up at the bottom. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my caulk. Try and do it so you can see it. And I'm just going to put a bead right across the bottom. And not quite go to each end. And then I'm going to take my stems. Oops. And I'm going to place them right in the caulk. At about the heights I think they're going to want to be. I'm going to tip this one over a little bit more. And put that one there. And then maybe one towards the bottom. And I'm not pushing it all the way down. The first one I pushed pretty much all the way down, and then I left this one higher and this one's kind of in the middle. And I'm going to put one more stem on there. Right like this. Put that down just a little bit. And what's going to happen is that's going to give my stems just a little bit of dimension up off the page. And then I'm going to take my second piece of grass and I'm just going to kind of run it through my hands carefully on the bottom here. And all that's doing is, you know, just put a little curve in it. And then flatten out both ends. And then I'm going to just put that right on there. And it's still too short, which is okay because all I'll do is I'm going to still put it right there. I'm going to bring it out to this end. And I'll just add a piece down here at this end. So this is what it looks like so far. See, we've got dimension between our two layers of grass. And what I really should have done, and what I'm going to do, I should have put the back row higher because you want to see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the front row down so you can see the grass behind it. And then what I'll do is I will trim off the bottom after this is dry. So I'm going to just flatten this out a little bit. I'm not pushing it all the way down. I'm just kind of making it layered. And there we go. So now we're going to have dimension with our flowers and with our grass. This now is going to have to sit and dry. And again, I would put your back grasses taller and your front grasses shorter. So I will let this sit aside and dry, and I'll be back in just a few. Okay, so I have doodled around the flowers that I'm not going to put an added flower on. And I put a little dot of the glitter nail polish in the center of those. And then I have my 5 flowers here. And I'm just going to put those on with some caulk. Well, first thing that I want to do, let me see here. Grab a pencil. I'm just going to grab this screwdriver right here. I just want to round these leaves a little bit. I keep clearing off the table for Papa to come over for breakfast and lunch, and then I forget to get things back out again. Okay, and then I'm going to kind of lift them up and put just a little dab of caulk on the back. There we go. And then I'm going to put them on the ones that I had selected. I decided ahead of time where I was going to put them. Just want to get it lined up the right way. And I don't want it too puffy. There we go. I'm going to put one here, 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 and here. I guess I do need to use something to round them. Now the thing with this card is that this was chosen because of the colors. And this may not be a standard flower color, but this one was fairly easy for me to work with because I like these colors. It's almost like a bit of a, it's, you know, it's got the dark green in there, and green is one of my favorite colors. And so to me, I like this abstract card. It doesn't have to be, you know, the standard pink flowers. Although I think that I am going to put pink flowers on my Rolodex card. And see, I'm just putting just a little dab of that on there. There we go. And I'm just lining them up as I put them down there because it's actually the same flower. I just cut out of another piece of this actual paper. So they should line up fairly well. And actually what you can also do with your caulk is just squeeze a little bit of it out on your table. And then just put it on. Here, I'll show you. Just like put some on your table like that. I've got a pin here. And then just take like a pin. Well, first I want to roll my edges of this before I put it on. Just take a pin or a toothpick or something like that, just something small. And then just grab a glob of it, the size that you want, and put it on there like that. You don't have to squeeze it directly from the tube out onto your flower. Where's my last one go? Right there. There we go. And then on this one I did get a little bit on the outside, so I'm just going to kind of go in there and push it back under the petal because I don't want to see it from the front. And then now when these are dry, then if like these petals are not as curled as the rest, I can go in and recurl those. Once it's dry, it'll be nice and sturdy to do that. So this is what I've come up with for my card. And I think that that looks pretty good. And then I could just, if I want to, I could put a little doodling around the edges. And I'll have to think about that if I want to do that. And I really kind of like the way it looks now. And I don't think doodling with black, or even if I use the same green paint, I don't know that I would like that. So for right now, I'm going to call this done. But I think it turned out very pretty. It's got the little sparkly flowers on there. And all of the dimension in the background. And I like how that turned out. I'll be back with the Rolodex card just shortly. Okay, so for the Rolodex cards, I want some flowers. And this was number 2. And number 2 got the second most votes. And I'm going to use part of this one to make some flowers. And I'm going to use that pink right there. But just to show you, even just really quickly, you know, I mean, this paper would make really cute borders. Uh-oh. I left the top off my pen. And I think it got a little bit dried out. I can tell it got a little bit dried out. Let's go to my my water color ones. See how that works. But yeah, you know, you can make so many things out of these, and once you get the border done and you cut it out, no one will ever know that it was a jelly print that you really didn't care for. And you can just do them, you know, any way that you see fit. They're very fun to doodle on. Not really something to necessarily do this quickly. But just kind of give you an idea of what you could do with it. And then you could paint it with your water glue to stiffen it up a little bit and seal it up a little bit. This kind of reminds me of like little monsters. It's got a little smile, a little bit of hair, got a little eye. And then I could come in with my purple marker and do a little bit, you know, more color with it. Did I get a pink? Yep, my purple and pink are the same one. Kind of a purpley pink. But there, see, they even kind of look like little smiling monsters. And then just cut them out. I'm going to cut that piece off. Okay, and doing this so fast, I guess, is not really the smartest idea because it doesn't really show you what it can look like. I'm cutting off the black, and I, you know, didn't do that good of a job doodling, but it just goes to show you that an ugly jelly print doesn't have to be an ugly jelly print, and you can also just go back in again and put more paint on them with the jelly plate, and you'd be surprised sometimes how that background color that you didn't like really comes through perfectly. But don't ever think that something that, you know, didn't turn out the way you wanted, or it was a wipe-off paper or whatever, you know, don't think that they're goners, because they can be revived with very little effort. I mean, there. Those are kind of cute, even though it just was just a couple of seconds of just, you know, drawing that on there. So, but the other thing that I want to do is I want to make some little flowers. And I think that I'm just going to do the pretty posies because I just love the pretty posies that we learned in mixed media morsels from Cat Hands. And I'm going to use this pink, and I'm also going to use the lighter bit that I cut off right here. Just going to go in and use some of this for the middle layer, and then maybe a little small pink layer for the center, or maybe just a little bit of glitter for the center. So I'm going to cut out 4 of these and I'll be back in a sec. Okay, our grass has dried, and I did add just a little tiny piece to the end here. I'm going to turn it over and trim along the bottom. And then I'm going to trim this grass off here. And there we go. I did put 3 of the posies on already. And I just, in case you haven't seen the pretty posies, get this out of the way. I want to show you how to do that. You just cut wonky circles. This one I've already put the little center on. But then to give them some dimension, all you have to do is just scrunch them all up and then open them back up. And then that just gives them dimension, makes them look more flower-ish instead of flat on the page. So there's that one, and even the ones with the center, I just squished up the edges. Just like that. And then all you do is just, I'm going to glue these 2 together. And then there we go. So that's what the flower looks like. Alrighty, now I've already done the first 3 flowers, and the way that I did these 3 is this one here, the stem is towards the back and the flower is lifted. This one also, the stem is at the back and the flower is lifted. And then on this one, I have the leaves are lifted a little bit and the flower is lifted even more than the other 2. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Now, to lift your stem, we've already put it at the top of our caulk. When we set it on our caulk, we left it up towards the top. So that keeps it up at the bottom. To keep it up at the top, what you're going to do is you're just going to, right where the top of that stem is going to be and right where you want your flower to be, you're just going to put a dab of caulk there, just like that. All right, and then I'm going to put my leaves in, and for the leaves, I'm going to put some caulk on the back. And then I'm going to decide where I want it, and you can put it on top of, you can put that little point at the top or at the bottom of your stem. And I have my little, here we go, these little pokies to help me move it around a little bit because it's a little bit fiddly. Okay, now I like to put them on the bottom because that holds the stem up, and then when this is dry, I will go in and put just a little dot of glue on that leaf to hold it to the stem. But that leaf I put under the stem, and so that's holding the stem up. So now the stem has dimension. Up here it's being held by the top of the flower. And then I have one more leaf that I'm going to want to put on there. So I'll just put a little bit of caulk on there. And then I think, I'm not exactly sure where I want to put it. I think I'll put this one right down here at the bottom with the other one. I'm going to kind of lift it up a little bit. And my hands are just a little shaky this morning, so I'm not reaching in there because if I do, I'll just squish everything. So I find that if I use little tools, they they seem to help a little bit. Okay, so I've got that leaf in there. Oops, and then I just moved it. There. Okay, and when that's dry, I'll put a little dab of glue on there and glue that to the stem. Now what I'm going to do is just take my flower. I have enough of the caulk here at the top that I don't think I want my flower any taller than that. If I wanted my flower taller, then I would just take some more caulk and put it on the back of my flower before I set my flower down. That would give me even more dimension. I'm just going to put this in here. Here we go. And there we go. Now we have our flowers with our dimension. This flower is higher than this one is higher than that one, and that one is higher than that one. So that's a nice thing with the caulk, is you can get all different kinds of dimensions. Also, with the puffy tape, once you stick it down, it's stuck. The nice thing with the caulk is it gives you time to move things around where you want them until you get it the way that you like it. So then the only other thing I have here is I just, with the number 2 paper, I just made a little banner that says spring, and I think I'm going to just put it flat on the paper. I don't think I want to pop that up. You can if you want to. I think I'll just put that here. Like that. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black marker. I put my markers in with my paintbrushes so that I have those all together. But I'm going to just kind of like put some little dots here. There. So this is like it's being pulled by an airplane, but you can't see the airplane because the airplane's over there. But there are our pretty posies, and this is ugly jelly print number 2, ugly jelly print number 4, and here's our card. And I just made a banner and just put thank you on there, and I did do some little stitching around the edges. And all of our little flowers are all standing up proudly, the ones that we put. And then we've got our backgrounds with just a little bit of glitter. Move a little bit of this out of the way. And then here's our little monster. I touched it up a little bit, gave him some little bloodshot eyes, and put some white dots, touched up the black around the top where I had cut it off. And this one could be the spring banner. I don't know if you can see the sparkle or not, but I painted that with the glitter glue, with the snow white and the glue, and just covered that with that. And I think that might look kind of cute on here too, so I just might do that. But those are the kind of things that you can make with ugly jelly plates. And I think that they actually turned out kind of cute. Get all the other junk out of the way. Yeah. So thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Sorry this video took so long. Thanks again, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.